far along is start that recording. So we're going to cover the go-to training sessions and some of the things that you can expect in the following weeks. We're going to talk about the idea of digital literacy, and just to get you guys starting to get those gears turning, we're going to ask you, put forth the question to you, of what you think digital literacy is. So start thinking about what your answer is going to be, and when we get to it, I'd like to know what you think. So we're also, in addition to that, we're going to talk about some tips for succeeding in digital literacy, the course, and then we're going to move into your week one discussion post. Then we're going to talk about the assignment that's going to be due this Sunday, and then just some basic housekeeping tips as you're working through this first week. And then we're going to open the floor to questions you guys might have at the very end of the session. So if you have any pertinent questions as we're discussing, great. But if you don't think of any questions until the 11th hour and it's about time for us to go, we're not going to kick you out. We're going to answer any questions for as long as you need us at the very end. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So first things first is the go-to training panel. You guys are going to see something very similar to what you see on the screen here with a list of the names in the chat box. You'll see the chat below. And then you have the opportunity, if you want to speak to your instructor specifically, or just all the instructors in general, you can change who you're speaking to. You can either speak to the entire audience, as you see here, or you can choose to speak to an individual student or the instructors ourselves, so that if you have a question that you don't want necessarily everyone to hear, or it's more personal, or it's individual to your situation, you can contact us as your instructors while we're in chat, so that we see it without anyone else seeing it. So you don't have to ever worry about that. So if you have messages specifically for us that you don't want the entire chat to see, there is an option for you to address that with us. Also, I see someone using the hand raising tool. That is another thing that you guys have available to you. You can raise your hand. I'm going to go ahead and click the button here. You can raise your hand, and if you have something that you want to say in chat that you want me to focus on, or you want to speak out loud, you do have the option to be able to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and move a little bit forward. So I want to ask you guys, what is digital literacy in your own words? So if you could, in the chat box, just enter in just a brief description of what you think digital literacy is based on how those words speak to you. So I just want to open that up. There's no right or wrong answers. This is all opinion based. So Jonathan Lewis says that it's the digital footprint that you have for your life. That is absolutely part of it. What else do you guys have? So Robert says that it's the ability to navigate and conduct yourself in an online platform. That is also part of it. You guys are working towards the whole. What else do you have? So Brandon is saying that it's traces of data someone leaves purposely. It could be Facebook posts or Twitter posts or whatever else. Absolutely. These are all wonderful answers. Let's get a few more before we move on. Noah says that it's the knowledge base of current technology and digital media in the world surrounding you. Absolutely, that's another part of it. And Samantha is saying that it's how you view others and how others view you in an online world. Kenneth is saying that to me, it's basically not just being able to use the internet officially, but the digital footprint as well. And Kayla is saying that it's the ability to communicate using media websites. All of these answers are fantastic. Each one of you is latching on to a fragment of this whole, and you guys understand what digital literacy is, and that's wonderful. Thank you so much for your answers. Here's just a couple of aspects of digital literacy that we also cover. And Jeremy says that it's the ability to navigate the internet and know how to use everything to your advantage and what trace that you leave of yourself. That is a fantastic answer. Thank you so much for that. So you guys understand what this is. So digital literacy involves more than just knowing how to use a computer or the internet. It covers everything that you guys just mentioned. It's knowing and learning your software. It's becoming internet savvy. It's knowing how to conduct proper research and where to find your research. It's about excellent communication practices both with the written word and the verbal word. And it's about creating a professional online presence for yourself, so that if you have a prospective employer who wants to work with you, or an audience that you want to appeal to, you're able to do that in the most efficient way possible and keep a professional demeanor about your presence on the web. So when Jeremy says something about the traces that you leave behind on the web, you got to keep in mind that a lot of that stuff is functionally permanent. So you have to think about, what do you want people to find on the web? And we're going to be getting into that a little bit later on in the session. So here are some basic tips to ensure your success in digital literacy as a course. So one thing we'd like you to do is we'd like you to check your LA Film School email at least twice a day, just to get into the habit of it. For the most part, you're not going to expect to see an email from us, your instructors, or from your advisors every single day, but just getting in the habit of accessing your email, just checking it twice a day in case you do get a message, just to create those good habits of staying consistent with where your information sources are coming from when it comes to your official communications with both your student advisors, other LA Film School staff, and us as your instructors. So you definitely want to keep your messages professional. So when you are contacting us, let us know who you are. Let us know what class you're in. Let us know the section you're in and what your concern is. And if you send us a message through the LMS, you're pretty much going to be addressing all of that information at the same time. So if you send an email, make sure that you do identify yourself in case you aren't using your LA Film School email. But if you are and you use a message through the LA Film School platform for digital literacy, it's going to have all that information included. All right, so we do have someone raising their hand. Stephen, did you have a question? You can just relay that in chat, and I will happily answer it for you. So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and move along. Oh, okay, cool. Stanley, let's see here. Stanley, did you have a question you wanted to relay out loud, or did Stephen have a question? I just want to make sure. Okay, Stephen is asking, how do you access the school email? So before I answer that question, I'm going to wait till the very, very end because we do have a lot of information to get to, and that is a little bit more involved. So hold on to that question, Stephen, and now I'm going to answer that at the very end. And I'm going to write that down so I don't forget it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so Stephen, I will come back to that question and I will demonstrate how you get to your email. Okay, so as you're working on your LA Film School activities, your discussion, and your assignment, as your instructors, are going to be leaving you comments and feedback when we give you your scores. So you're never going to not understand why we took points away. It's never going to be a mystery as to why you are missing points on this category or that category. We're always going to be very upfront and communicative about the things that we think you are doing really well and the things that we want to see you improve upon. So just think of it as that we're trying to ensure that you have the greatest chance for success. We're not here to fail you. We're not here to penalize you for making tiny mistakes. We want to see you succeed, and we're here to act as that support system to see you succeed. So as you're working on your assignment, as you're working on your discussion or your quiz, if you have any concerns, or if you need clarification about a question or an aspect of the assignment that you've got to turn in, or you don't understand a part of the rubric and you have a question about that, please let us know. That's what we're here for. We want to give you the information that allows you to succeed on your own terms. So please contact us if you have any concerns like that. So be sure to contact support for any technical issues, and you'll want to check the how to get support activity under getting started. And I'm going to show you where that is so you guys can see it for yourself. And it's going to be on the main digital literacy page. And it's going to be under the Getting Started tab. So the Getting Started tab is going to be right here at the very top, and it's going to be right here. So if you want to know how to get support and you're not able to turn in your work, you're not able to access your email, whatever your concern is, this is going to provide you the information that you need in order to get that help. And please just send your instructor an email letting us know what your concern or technical issue is so we can take that into account when it comes to whether or not you might be able to, if you're not able to submit on time, we can take that into account in the feedback process in case you have any technical difficulties. So just keep in mind that option is available to you in case there are any issues with the LMS itself, with your email, or submitting your assignments. Okay, so as you're working on your discussion and your activities, make sure that you read all the instruction PDFs and rubrics just to have a complete understanding of what it is that we're asking for you to deliver before you even begin working. So that's part of the process of creating these assignments is understanding exactly what we're asking for you to deliver. So reviewing the instructions asking any questions of us that you might have, and just kind of digesting the information that we're asking for you to deliver before you begin is generally going to put you with the best foot forward when it comes to actually composing your assignments and your discussions. So definitely read the instructions first, let them stew a little bit, and then you can begin working. And Stanley, do you have a question that you wanted to use your mic for, or are you just letting us know? I just want to be sure. Okay, so all initial discussion posts are going to be due Wednesday night at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And your response post is going to be due Sunday of each week at 11:59 Pacific time, each eve just before midnight. So I want you guys to understand this. So for your discussion posts, there are definitely two parts. Your first part is going to be due Wednesday night at 11:59 p.m. And your second part, your response is going to be due at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. So just keep that in mind. Your initial post is due Wednesday, and your response post is due Sunday. Okay, guys. I see Kayla has a question about turning her mic on. Don't worry about that right now. Just relay your question in the chat box, and I'll get to it. We'll just leave those technical issues till the very end. There's a lot to get through today. Okay, guys. So the rubric is going to be essentially the requirements for your discussion and for your assignment. So if you have any questions about what sort of things we're looking for in terms of thoughtfulness and quality, logic and analysis, the response post, if it's a discussion, and some of the grammar and punctuation mechanics. So these are certain things that we're looking for. And if you want to ever check where you are in terms of relation to the rubric, just review the rubric, look at your work, see where there might be things that you want to maybe improve based on what you read for the requirements in the rubric. And if you have any questions about whether or not you're meeting those requirements, you can definitely contact your instructor. Okay, so a couple of things that you want to keep in mind is that thinking about starting your assignments and your research for your assignments a little early. We definitely don't want to wait until Sunday night to compose our discussion post and work on our assignment and do our quiz. You want to kind of spread those activities throughout the week so that you have ample time to take your time on each one of them instead of just rushing through to the very end. And we have someone with our hand up. You're okay, Stephen. What's your question, sir? What's up? This is what this time is for, man. And of course, as you guys are working on your discussion and your assignment, don't be afraid to ask any questions. And you can go ahead and relay your question in the chat. Okay, so Stephen is asking, can the response post and initial post be done on the same day, or is it like an attendance thing? No, Stephen, there's no sort of attendance that's going to be taken due to when you post your discussion post. If you post your initial post on Wednesday and you see someone else's post ready to go, you can definitely go ahead and respond to them and not have to wait until Sunday. So don't feel like you have to wait until the weekend to make your discussion post if you're ready to make it right away. If someone doesn't have a response yet, you can go ahead and make it a response. If they do have a response already, we definitely would like you to respond to someone that doesn't have any sort of response yet, just to make sure everyone's included. But if everyone has a response and you find a post that you really appeal to and you want to kind of share your thoughts, by all means, absolutely. So don't feel like you have to wait until Sunday night. I hope that answers your question. Okay, guys, let's move on. No problem, Stephen. Anytime, anytime. So here's something else that you guys want to keep in mind. So late assignments may be submitted up to 3 days late unless there's an emergency. So this is where that communication is going to come into play. If you feel like you're not going to be able to make that Sunday night deadline and it's Friday or Thursday or Saturday, please, please, please call, message, or email your instructor, just letting us know that you're not going to be able to turn it in on time, whether it's illness, a family concern, whatever it happens to be. You don't have to give us a specific reason. Just let us know that you've got some concerns you need to take care of and that you need a little bit of extra time. And we're able to work with you. But you have to let us know. So if you don't communicate that to us and it comes time to turn in and you don't turn in your work, just you definitely want to keep that line of communication open, just so that you have that little bit of comfort where you can turn your work in. So keep in mind that each day late is 10% off the maximum score possible. So if you turn in your work Sunday night, you get your full points. If you turn in your work Monday, you're going to lose 10%, so that's going to be a 90. If you turn in your work Tuesday, that's going to be an 80. And of course, if you turn in Wednesday, that's going to be a 70%. So definitely keep in mind that there is a late policy, and that if you turn in your work a little bit later, there will be some sort of penalty. However, if you keep open contact with us and you let us know that there's some sort of emergency that you have to attend to, or some sort of concern that you have to attend to, and you might not be able to turn in your work in on time, we can work with you and provide you an extension if that's a necessary sort of action to take. So you do have that ability. Another thing, we do want you guys to keep an open mind during your time in digital literacy. We do want you to have a lot of fun with this class. We want you to learn a lot of material, and we want you to get familiar with the LA Film School culture, the LA Film School learning platform, so that when you guys reach your core classes, you'll have the best foot forward possible. And of course, if you have any questions, you can send an email, write a message on the LMS, or give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to address any concerns you guys might have. So Kenneth is asking, and John Lewis, I did see your question, and I will answer you very, very shortly. I'm just going to make it sure that Kenneth is answered too. So Kenneth is asking, is there any way to get early access to the following week's work? He's going to be doing most of his coursework on Saturday and Sunday and morning nights. If not, it's okay. So again, this is a great question, everyone. If you want next week's work to be open early, you're ready, you've finished this week's coursework, you're ready to start the next week's coursework, just ask your instructor whether or not they'll open it for you, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to say sure, why not. So just let us know if that's an option that you want to do and you're ready and you've got your previous week's work turned in and it's not quite next week but you want to get a head start. Just ask your instructor, and we can definitely move that date forward for you so you have access. And Stanley is asking, do I have to give documentation for turning in my late assignments? Stanley, you don't necessarily have to give us a doctor's note or send us any documentation. Just let us know that something's going wrong or something's happening, whatever it happens to be, and that you might not be able to turn your work in on time. Just let us know that something's going on and keep that line of communication open with us, and we can work with you. Because if we don't know anything's happening and if we don't know anything's going wrong, we can't really act on that. So just make sure that you keep an open line of communication. I hope it answers your questions, guys. These are really, really good questions. And Jonathan, I'm going to go ahead and answer your question right now. And Jonathan, thank you for that question, and just let me know if that answers it for you. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so when you're taking your knowledge check quizzes, I want you guys to keep a couple of things in mind. They are open book. So you can have your quiz open in one screen, and you can have your read and view activity in the other, and you can, refer back to one another and use the read and view activity as reference for answering the quiz questions. Now, the reason that we have the quizzes as open book is that you can only take it once. There are no retakes, and it's self-grading. So once you've clicked submit at the very end, it's going to automatically grade the quiz and give you your score, and that's as far as it goes, unfortunately. So there's no retakes, but just keep in mind that it is open book, so you can seek out the answers to the questions, or rather, suggestions to the answers to the questions within the read and view activity. So keep that in mind as you're working on the quizzes. And those are also due Sunday night at 11:59 Pacific time. And if you do have any sort of concerns, medical issues, family issues that prevent you from being able to submit the quiz on time, we can also work with you and provide an extension of that if it is deemed necessary. So just keep a line of communication open with us. Okay, so as for these sessions, the go-to training sessions, they are held once a week on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time 9 p.m. Eastern time. And if you can't make it to the live session, you don't have to worry about that. What we do is that we have a video archive. We're recording the session right now for those of us that are watching it after the fact. Hi. We do record a session and then we upload that to YouTube. And then what I'm going to do is send the link to our other instructors, and they're going to post those links under where you signed up for the go-to training session. So where you signed up for the session for tonight is going to be where the video archive is posted. So if you have any questions about what we covered tonight, you want to see a specific part again, that is going to be available to you. All right, Stephen, go ahead and ask your question, sir. So Stephen is asking, are there go-to trainings in every class? I can't speak to every class after digital literacy, but for our class, we do have one session on Tuesday every single week. I hope that answers your question. So in your future courses, they may be on a different schedule. They may be there, they may be not. I can't answer that and specifically. So Jonathan is asking, do you know the session ID for the go-to training? If I use my iPad ad, it asks me for one. Jeremiah Moore says that in most classes they do have go-to training, so you can expect to have go-to training activities in your future courses. Thank you, Jeremiah. I appreciate that. And Jonathan, I don't have the session ID for the go-to training. I can look that up for you specifically, but generally all you have to do is click the join session and you should be good to go. But I'll look into that for you. I'm going to make a note of that as well. All right, John. Thank you very much for your questions, guys. These are really, really good. I really appreciate how active you guys are in chat. All right, guys, I've got a link for you. Oh, here we go. I'm going to link that to everyone instead of just one person. There we go. Yes, in Stanley, yeah, it's going to be a visual video. So everything that you see on the screen right now is going to be in the YouTube archive. So yeah, it's going to be a recording of everything that you're seeing and hearing right now. And if you guys want to click that link, this is just a general article about how to succeed as an online student. So generally, our students here at LA Film come from all walks of life. We've got industry professionals working here or attending the school. We've got industry professionals working here at the school, of course. But our students come from everyone who's in the industry all the way to people who've never been involved in industry at all. We've got people who've coming back to college for after a long period of time. We've got people who have coming to us for the very first time who have never attended college at all. So we're coming. A lot of us are coming from different backgrounds, but this will kind of put you on an even footing when it comes to working and learning and studying in an online environment. In case this is something that you're not as familiar with. So this will give you quite a few tools to think about, and hopefully this information will allow you to put your best foot forward for digital literacy. This will give you a great start for your career here at LA Film School. So just think about some of these ideas as you're reading through this article. There's no quiz on this article. There's no grading attached to it. Just this is for your benefit. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward. All right, so your student advisors can help out with anything related to the LA Film School, not just related to assistance with digital literacy. So your student advisors can definitely help you with the DGL course, but that's generally Jeremiah's job, Jonathan's job, and my job. So if you have any concerns about the course, you can come to us first. But if you have any sort of general questions about your experience here at LA Film, your student advisor is going to be your very first link of line of communication in that regard. And of course, online support is very useful when it comes to any technical issues that you might have, specifically for the LMS. And if you have any submission issues that you're not able to submit by the deadline, or if you have any technical issues like you're not able to send emails, you're not able to log in, online support should be able to help you out and alleviate those concerns. And of course, let us know if and when you guys contact online support for your issues so that we can keep them in mind during the feedback process, or if we need to give you an extension past the due date. So if you're having an issue where you're not able to submit your work, it's Sunday night, you're completely done, it's way before the deadline, but you're not able to submit your work, please let us know that you're having this issue, and we're going to take that into account when it comes Monday morning and work's not there. we'll be able to accept that and it won't be late because you had a technical issue that was beyond your control. So don't feel like you're going to be hamstrung if the submission process doesn't work. We're not here to penalize you. We're here to see you succeed. So we're willing to work with you as long as you let us know what your concerns are. And Dalius, no problem. I can provide that link for you, no problem. And just a couple of things at the very end here, as we wrap up our general sort of introduction to the course. We'd like you guys to keep a positive and open mind. We're not here to fail you. We want to see you succeed. So you definitely want to contact support for any technical issues you encounter, and any issues you encounter with the course, make sure that you contact your instructor. Also, that link is going to be posted on the LMS. So if you guys can access the class page, that's where it's going to be first. So it would be a little clumsy to have to email everyone the same link. So that's going to be where it's posted. Is going to be on the go to training sign up page. So if you guys, let me go ahead and go back to the page really quick here, so you can see where it's going to be hosted. It's actually located in 2 spots, so I definitely want you guys to see this information as well. So if you want to see this video, if you want to see this experience again, make sure that you click on this button right here, or this section right here. Go to training info and recordings. That's where all of the recordings are going to be hosted week by week, and it's also going to be hosted where you sign up. So if you signed up under the 1.1 Digital Literacy Go To Training Sessions, you're in the session right now, you can go back here and find the video archive link in this section as well. So for every single week, you can definitely expect to find that link there the night of the session. So yeah, it's definitely a lot better this way. That way everyone has the same ability to access this instead of it getting lost in the email. Great, great, cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on a little bit further. We're about halfway through the session. Are there any questions about the class so far before we move into your discussion? Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and change gears a little bit. Now we're going to talk about your discussion. So that discussion post is going to be this one right here, 1.3. So you can already see there are a couple of people in my specific class that have started that sort of conversation. So that's wonderful to see. So this is what we're about to discuss is 1.3, your digital identity. And this is what the instruction sheet looks like for that particular activity. So let's go over the instructions here, and I'm going to talk about the instructions, the overview rather, the topics that you guys are going to cover, some of the due dates, and then we're going to take a look at the rubric, and then we're going to be moving past this, and we're going to take a little detour into personal branding, and then talk about your assignment, and we are good for the evening. So let's go ahead and start the next half of our class. So most every week in your courses, there's going to be a graded discussion board that you will be expected to post on. So there's going to be specific topics that prompt you to explore, to view, share, and reflect on learning topics related to the course objectives that we're covering that week. So the discussion board is a place to build a community with your colleagues and your instructor in an academic environment to help you expand your learning and that of your classmates. So think of this as a conversation that you're having with your classmates about these topics each week. They're definitely going to know things that you don't know, and you're definitely going to know things that they don't know. So we want you guys to kind of network, create a conversation and a dialogue where you're both learning from and teaching your colleagues. Kayla, you have a question? Go ahead and relay those in the chat. Kayla, we're going to be addressing 1.4 specifically. Right now we're hitting the discussion, but we're about to get to that. So just sit tight for just a moment. All right, so this is the general sort of overview for discussions, and now let's go into the topics. And once I hit these topics, we're going to talk about the requirements, and then we're going to move on to 1.4. Okay, so for this week's discussion board, we want you to address some of the following questions, and we want you to address the ones that inspire you most. Now, as you can see, there's quite a few here. We're not expecting you to respond to every single one. You can pick 2, 3, 1 that speaks to you, but we do want you to provide a thoughtful initial post based on a couple of these topics. So, is there anything that you're already doing to establish your digital footprint or online identity? The second one is, what are the goals that have driven you to begin your degree program? Your third one is, how important is it for you to graduate from this degree program and why? Your fourth topic is, how will you stay motivated during weeks that you're very busy, have heavy work or work family demands, or don't feel too well? Your next topic is, do you have any industry experience? And if you do, like, we'd like to hear about it, and you can definitely share some of your experiences within your particular industry. The next topic is, how do you learn best? And what are your greatest challenges with learning? And if any, if you have any, if you don't, that's fine too. And what strategies do you plan to utilize to help you overcome any challenges that you might have for in the learning process? The next topic is, what do you think will be the hardest part of completing your degree? How do you plan to overcome these challenges? And what is your plan? And why is it important for you to overcome these challenges? And the last topic available to you are, what are some of the things that you'd like to know about your classmates? So again, take a few of these topics. You don't have to answer all of them, but just pick the ones that speak the most to you. And we'd like you to formulate your initial discussion post by this coming Wednesday night at 11 p.m. 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And of course, your response post is due this coming Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. And we'd like you to comment and discuss on the other people's initial posts in a discussion style. And you can post more than 2 times if you wish. And like we were asked before, you do not have to wait until Sunday night to respond to someone else's post if someone else has already given their initial post. So if you see someone else's post is ready and they're really speaking to you and you want to respond and not have to wait, you can respond on Wednesday night if you want to, or Thursday or Friday. As long as your response post is up and running before 11:59 on Sunday night, you're going to be right as rain. And of course, as you're working on your discussion post, you want to check some of the parts of the rubric to make sure that you're conforming to those. So think about your thoroughness and quality. So the exceptional column is going to be that your topic is understood, in depth, and convincingly addressed. All information is presented in a clear, thorough, creative, and well supported with several relevant facts and statistics. Now, for this one, we're not looking for you to cite facts and statistics, but this rubric kind of gives you a ballpark figure of where your project or your discussion might be falling currently. So if you feel like you're not necessarily addressing all of these specific aspects, maybe you want to revisit your discussion post and provide a little bit more information so that you receive the maximum score possible. Because this is what we're going to be using when we assess your post for content, for logic and analysis, for your response, and for some of the basic grammar and mechanics. So when we're giving you comments and feedback, this is what we're looking at when we're looking at your post. Okay, so here are a couple of frequently asked questions. So the instructions say that my first post is due by Wednesday, but the closing date of the discussion is not until Sunday night. Why are there 2 deadlines for the same discussion? So we want you to kind of create a conversation, and you have to keep in mind that not everyone is going to have the same availability to discuss or to post their initial post. So you want to give everyone enough time to, one, submit their initial post, and 2, to kind of formulate a response, because we're not expecting you to deliver a paragraph right away. Feel like take the time to formulate your response and come up with something that's thoughtful and useful and constructive to the conversation before you hit that submit button. So you definitely can submit your response post before Sunday night. Absolutely. So what if you submit your first post after the Wednesday night first post deadline? So late initial posts may be subject to a point deduction. Always contact your instructor to discuss specific information related to deadlines and exceptions. So if you feel like you can't make that initial discussion for whatever reason, just let your instructor know, and we can work with you about that deadline. And how many are posts? A minimum of 2. Your first initial post and then your response. So only a minimum of 2 per discussion. But if you're getting into a groove with a conversation with a couple of your classmates, you can post as much as you like. All right, so that is the discussion. Let's go back out. And now we're going to move into the assignment that you guys are going to be working on, 1.4. All right, so let's go ahead and pivot a little bit. Now, this week's assignment has to do with the idea of digital footprints and personal branding of industry professionals and of you guys. And right now, we're going to cover a couple of aspects of personal branding and what that means and how you guys are going to be using this information when it comes to developing your assignment for this first week's assignment. So here's a couple of things that we're going to be covering. We're going to cover personal branding, some of the myths of personal branding, some of the laws concerning personal branding, and then the personal branding process as a very abbreviated sort of thing. We could spend all night on this topic, and we're running out of time. So we're briefly going to go through this so you have context for what we're looking for within your assignment. So, just based on the idea or the phrase personal branding, what do you guys think this means? What do you think it is in your own words? Now, there's no right or wrong. Well, there's definitely a wrong answer, but you can definitely give us what your opinion of what personal branding is. And yes, Stanley, this post is going to be due tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. So Stephen says it's making a name for yourself. Yes, it is. Kenneth says that it's the image that you present to others. Yes. Brendan is saying that it's making yourself known. Talford is saying that it's the best description of yourself. These are all really good fragments of a whole. Baron is saying that it's how you're perceived by others based on the image you portray to others and how you promote yourself. Yes. And what sells you. Absolutely. You guys are hitting it right on the head. Here's basically what personal branding is all about. You guys got to hit those specific marks. Here's what we're looking for in general. And Jonathan says that it's the description you use and your perception according to the demographic that you're going after. That is a very pointed, perfect response. Absolutely. Armonte is saying that it's how people look at you and represent you as a person. And Kayla is saying it's how you promote yourself to others in a professional manner. Yeah, you guys are nailing it. Not only do you understand digital literacy intimately, you understand personal branding too. You guys are on the ball. Thank you very much. That's awesome. So it's essentially how you would describe professionally and personally, both professionally and personally. So who you are in a business context and your value system as a human being. So personal branding, by definition, is the process by which we market ourselves to others. So we've already seen that statement mentioned in the chat. So that's wonderful that you guys hit on that. So we want you to think about how you want to portray yourself professionally in person and translate that to the internet. So when you're going in for a job interview and you've got your nice suit and tie on, or you got your dress shirt on with your dress pants and your really nice shoes on, you're ready, you're confident, transfer that energy, transfer that conscientiousness, transfer that attention to detail to the internet. And again, you're going to be right as rain. Make sure that your website is nice. Make sure that you've got a really professional email, a professional mission statement, a really good portfolio that shows your work. Give your prospective employers as many reasons as possible to contact you for a job. So all of that effort that you will put into getting a job in the real world, transfer that effort online, and your digital footprint and your personal brand are going to be immaculate. So think about yourself as a brand. We can use the same strategies that make celebrities or corporate brands appeal to various audiences. We had someone mention earlier targeting a specific demographic or audience. Think about these brands: Nike, Ferrari, Honda. Think about the idea of Honda versus Ferrari. They're both cars, right? They both have two doors, sometimes four doors. They both have four wheels. They both have horns, pedals, brakes. They both function as cars. But a Honda is going to appeal to a very specific demographic, and a Ferrari is going to appeal to a completely different specific demographic. The people looking for a Honda are looking for value, they're looking for reliability, they're looking for fuel efficiency. The type of person shopping for a Honda or a Ferrari might be looking for a status symbol, they might be looking for power, they might be looking for a bare bones racing experience. That's not compatible between Honda and Ferrari. Very different markets. So keep that in mind when you're branding yourself. find the audience or the market that you want to be a part of and move in that direction when it comes to portraying yourself in your personal brand. Think about Steven Spielberg and the types of movies that he makes. And think about someone else like Zack Snyder and the movies that he makes. So think about Jurassic Park versus the movie 300. Very tonally different. They're hitting different emotional marks, and you can enjoy both equally, but you can definitely tell that one is for a type of person and the other is for a completely different type of person. You can't market to everyone, you can't satisfy everyone, so you've got to find your little niche and where you fit in. So the first myth about personal branding is that it's about image management. So your image is going to be your outside and external appearance, how you dress, how you carry yourself, how you walk, how you talk, which is important. But your personal brand covers everything that's on the inside. It's going to be your internal attitude and your values, what you endorse, what you believe in, and what you will stand up for. So you want to market yourself by being honest about who you are and what you can do. And if you can do that, your personal brand is going to be completely on point. Because personal branding is not necessarily about getting a job. Personal branding isn't just about where you want to work or about getting the job. That's nice. That's great. We want that job. We want that result. But it's a balance between your professional goals and your personal values. Think about the types of products that you would endorse personally. There are probably some products that you wouldn't endorse based on your personal beliefs, and there are probably products that you would completely, wholeheartedly, 100% endorse because of your personal values and beliefs. And you want to make sure that you tailor your personal brand so that you don't compromise who you are to get a professional leg up. Make sure that you keep that integrity. So, again, it's about authenticity. It's extremely important that you define your brand before someone else does it for you. We like labels. We like putting people in boxes. It's hard to say, it's unfortunate, but it does happen. You don't want people doing that to do. Define your own box, define your own parameters so that when you shop yourselves to others, they're not going to compare you to someone else. They're going to take you on your own terms. And that's going to involve transparency. It's better to be straightforward and honest with your abilities and your brand. I represent X, Y, and Z. I've got this skill set. I'm a recent graduate. I'm still learning, but I'm enthusiastic and I have a lot to give. This is my personal brand. This is where I'm at. Hire me. Let's start a conversation. It's just like that. So that's also going to involve a little bit of visibility because if we can't see you, we can't start that conversation. So think about the social media age that we live in. If you aren't known, you don't exist. If you're not known, you don't exist. So even a basic presence online can make all the difference. Set up a Facebook page, set up a Facebook fan page, get you a Twitter, get a website, get an Instagram. Find who your audience is, develop your personal brand, and start talking to people. And you're going to be surprised at the responses you're going to get because they're waiting for you. It's all about cultivating that brand and believing in yourself that it is worthwhile to actually go through all this trouble because it certainly is. And once you've got that social networks set up, you want to check your sites often. Check your Twitter for any responses. Check your Facebook for any sort of fan interactions. Whatever it happens to be, you want to check them often. And you want to get out there in as many ways as possible, like Kenneth says. There's no such thing as overexposure in this age. So think about the 80 million names are running through Google's search engine every single day. And you've got to consider the fact that your name might be one of them. My name might be one of them. Jonathan or Jeremiah's name might be in that list somewhere. So keep in mind that 70 to 90% of employers are using social networks to kind of vet their employees to see what kind of people they are. Think about the things that you want people to find about you on the web. If they search your first name and last name, what are they going to run into? Are they going to run into pictures of you at the beach with 2 kegs of beer over your head when you've got the funnel going on? Or are they going to see professional pictures or industry-related publications with your name or work that you've created or work you've collaborated on? What do you want people to find? Keep that in mind as you're working on your personal brand. Keep that in mind as you're working on your digital footprint. And that's how that's going to tie into your first assignment because you're going to find an industry professional and you're going to analyze their digital footprint. You're going to check their Facebook, their Twitter, their website, their YouTube if they have one, and you're going to get a portrait of what these people are like in their professional realm, and you're going to answer some questions about that. All right, so let's move into the assignment itself and how we can kind of tie all this personal branding information into what you guys are going to be delivering. So John is saying that you should maybe review posts before allowing them on your timeline. Absolutely. So if you want to kind of filter out posts that might be disruptive or they might be trolls or whatever it happens to be, you can definitely cultivate what your audience sees so that they receive the maximum impact from what your brand is delivering. It's not censorship. It kind of sounds like it when you put it that way, but it is definitely cultivating the message so that your audience receives it 100%. Okay, so let's move into the assignment, and this is what that looks like, and I'm going to show you where it is. It's going to be 1.4, detecting digital footprints, and we've got about 13 minutes left, so if I run over on time, just please bear with me. This isn't a habit. There's a lot to cover in the first day. Okay, so this is the instructions for 1.4, so let's go ahead and run through these. And then I'm going to open the floor to questions you guys might have at the very end concerning the assignment, concerning the discussion quiz, whatever you guys like be holding on to. So we'd like you to select an entertainment industry professional in your chosen field who you are interested in learning more about, or someone whose career success you'd like to emulate. So before you even get started, just start thinking about the type of industry professionals that you'd like to do more research on. And you want to think about business professionals in the film, television, music, gaming, or any other industry that kind of fits the mold that you're interested in. And what you want to do is, I want you to keep this in mind, is avoid selecting a celebrity who is primarily famous as being a star rather than as a business person. I'm pretty sure a couple of you guys can think of people like that. We want you to avoid those types of individuals who are just famous for being famous. If they're famous and they're also involved in the field of the entertainment industry in some sort of um, productive capacity, rather than just being the talent, they're involved in the business as well as being talent, you can use those individuals. If you want some examples, Tom Cruise would be a great example of someone who's both an actor and someone who's involved in the industry part of the business as well. Um, Who's another good example? Kanye West would be a good example of someone who's both a performer and involved in the outside of the industry. Hans Zimmer is an excellent example. Rick Rubin is a really good example. Jay-Z is a good example. Ron Howard is a really good example. Steven Spielberg. Think about all these people in the industry that aren't necessarily just performers, but they're involved in the background. Quentin Tarantino would be good. Shane Hurlbut would be good. Dr. Dre, Tiesto. Yeah, all of these guys that you're mentioning, all these gals that you're mentioning, yeah, all of them will fit that mold. The RZA, yes. I actually was going to mention the RZA, but I didn't think anybody would note him. So that's great that you do. Um, Brianna. Skrillex would be good. Stephen Aoki would be good. So yeah, all of these professionals that you guys are listing, if they're not taken, go ahead and list those. These are absolutely ones that you can use. Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, yes. Samantha, as for any females in the entertainment industry, you can check out Jacqueline Kennedy. She's involved in the Star Wars films. Daisy Ridley. Let's see, anyone else? There's quite a few. There's quite a few. So if you just Joseph Gordon-Levitt's a good one. So if you just type in industry professionals, women in the industry, women in the gaming industry, film industry, you're probably going to run into a giant list. Oprah's a really good one. Ryan Tedler, I'm not sure who that is, but if you can find information about them and they're involved in your specific industries, they're good to go. So, and of course, if you have any specific questions about who you want to choose as your industry professional for your digital footprint assignment, you can address your individual instructor. Casey Nestat should be pretty good. Absolutely. So yeah, again, if you have any specific questions about who you want to include, just include a minor description and we'll let you know if that's someone that's acceptable. So what we want you to do after you've selected your industry professional for your digital footprint assignment is conduct a web search, such as Google. You can use whatever search engine you'd like. You want to look into this person's digital footprint. And we also want you to search their sources of active digital footprint data, such as their Facebook page, their LinkedIn page if they have one, their Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, whatever it happens to be. It can also be their social network connections, their blog posts, websites that they have, video that they might be in, and other image or audio uploads. And we want you to collect screen captures, links to websites, or other documentation of the digital footprint trail of your selected industry business professional. So first, select who your professional is, and then we want you to start gathering evidence. Find their Facebook, find their Twitter, find out who they're talking to, find out if they have any written articles, articles about them, videos with them in it. And Demon, a screen capture image is essentially a screenshot. And if you don't know how to take a screenshot, everyone, that information is available right here in class resources. And if I click on that, here we go. Right here, it shows you how to take a screenshot using a Mac or PC and how to compress a file using a Mac or PC. That's under class resources, Dimon. So that should answer your questions. No problem. All right, so you want to conduct that web search about your industry professional after you've picked them, and once you've got your links, once you've got your evidence all ready to go, you're going to start creating. And yes, Dalius, you're going to compress your files, and that's also available under class resources too. So if you're not sure how to compress your files, that information is available, and you guys can refer back to that. No problem. So what we want you to do after you get your evidence together and after you've read through your evidence and you're started thinking about what you want to say in your assignment, we want you to report the findings of your investigation. So these are the questions that you're going to be answering as you're working through your evidence. So how does this person's digital footprint represent them as an industry business professional? And is the image presented online positive or negative for their career and personal brand? And are there any exceptions? And what this means is, say someone has a negative post on their Facebook page, and does that negative post affect their brand? And if it doesn't, we want you to talk about that too. So think about the musician Chris Brown. He got into trouble for being a little violent, but has that event affected his personal brand at all? Perhaps it has, perhaps it hasn't. So that's going to be your opinion. Based on the evidence that you found, in your opinion, do you think that there are any exceptions to this person's personal brand that are obvious? Like, if they have a positive personal brand and you see something negative, do you see any sort of change, or do you feel a change based on that information? So this is definitely going to be a written paper, Jonathan. So there's no need to include any visuals unless you want to include screenshots or URLs. And you do have the ability to be creative with this, absolutely. Robert is asking, should I provide information about where you got the screenshots, like a credit reel or a citation page? Yes. So Robert, if you have a screenshot, just include a URL where you got that screenshot from, and you should be good to go. And so Pablo is asking, does a person that goes by their company name, 20K Visuals, work? Yes. If he's involved in the industry and they have a digital footprint that you can trace and write about, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be good for this assignment. So guys, thank you very, very much for these great questions. We've got about 5 minutes, so we might go a little over on time, but we're almost done. So let's go ahead and get through this. So we do want you to give examples to illustrate your opinions when you answer these questions up here. So keep this information in mind when you're developing the answers to your questions. And the last one is, what might a potential hiring manager or business partner be impressed with, and what might cause someone to discount this person as a potential business partner? So again, as you're working through the evidence that you've collected, make sure that you answer these questions as you're going through that. And part 2 is, we want you to consider the role of digital footprints in your own professional life. So think about what you've learned in this week's activity, including the digital footprints activity we're talking about right now, and determine the steps that you can take to manage your own digital footprint to create an image that will present you positively and professionally online. and describe the digital footprint or online brand you wish to portray, and list the steps that you'll take to achieve this goal. Okay, so let's break this down in summation. You're going to find an industry professional in your field. You're going to conduct a web search about that industry professional to find evidence of their digital footprint on the web using Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media page that you'd like, or you can find YouTube videos, articles, screenshots, whatever you'd like to use as evidence. And then based on that evidence, you're going to answer these questions up here in part 1. And then once you've done that, you're going to think about your own digital footprint for part 2. You're going to list some of the steps that you're going to take to achieve this goal, and you're going to answer these questions to the best of your ability, to the level of completeness that is comfortable for you. Generally, we would like to see a paragraph of information here, about 5 to 7 sentences. And once you've got everything ready to go, here's the submission process. So we'd like you to use the format of your choice to present your findings. So if you want to use Microsoft Word, great. If you want to use Microsoft PowerPoint, great. If you want to mic up and shoot a video, Jonathan, yes, absolutely, you surely can. And if you have any questions about the format that you want to submit for this assignment, make sure that you do contact your instructor and we'll let you know what's acceptable. As long as you explain fully, clearly, and include visual examples to illustrate your points, you are good to go in the format you want to use. Now, your submission may be in the form of a written document, like we just mentioned. You can include visual images, URLs, screenshots, or you can create a slideshow presentation with that same information in a different presentation format, or you can create an audio-visual podcast or video like Jonathan just mentioned. So if you'd like to suggest a different format that's not mentioned above, make sure that you contact your instructor to ensure that it's going to be acceptable. And we do want you to include your references to cite the sources of the information that you've used. So any screenshots, any articles that you use as reference, just include those URLs. So just copy the URL from the address bar and paste it into your slideshow, paste it into your document, and that's just going to let us know where you got your information. Now, you want to include your name and your student number in the same document so we know who submitted it. And you want to compress and upload your file to the 1.4 activity. So this is where you're going to be submitting your final assignment on Sunday night, right here. And if you don't know how to compress your file for that submission, that's going to be available under class resources under the Getting Started tab at the very top. And it's going to show you how to create screenshots and how to compress your documents, whether you're on a Mac or whether you're on a PC. So that information is going to be available to you as you're working. And of course, as you're working, make sure that you refer to the rubric to ensure that you're falling into this exceptional column here. So if you have any questions about the submission process, what you need to include in your submission, whether or not you analyze the personal action steps, and so on, make sure that you do address those concerns when you check out the rubric and look at your own work for comparison. Jonathan's asking, are there any video compression settings, output formats? As long as YouTube can accept the format, we're good to go. So what we'd like, Jonathan, is instead of uploading the video to the LMS, because there is some bandwidth issue there and the amount of time it takes to upload, we'd like you to upload your video to YouTube or whatever you'd like, and then just send us a public or an unlisted link so that when your instructor clicks on it, we can see it. So Vimeo, yes. So if you don't want everyone to see it, just send us an unlisted link that only we can access, and then we'll click on that and use that to provide you feedback. So yeah, that'll work perfectly. Okay, guys, that is the first week's assignment. Do you guys have any questions for us now that we've reached the end of the session? We are 9 seconds over officially. So again, remember that your initial discussion post is due this Wednesday. The initial post is due this Wednesday night at 11:59. Your response to post is due this coming Sunday at 11:59. Your assignment 1.4 is due this Sunday at 11:59, and so is your quiz. So you've got a lot of stuff due at 11:59 on Sunday night. Make sure you give yourself enough time to complete all of these to the best of your ability without rushing. So definitely segment off some time for your discussion, segment a little bit of time for your assignment, segment a little bit of time at the end for your quiz so that you can take your time and not rush and you can get the maximum score possible. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. That is all the information I have for you. If you are good to go and you don't have any questions, you are free to go. Thank you so much for being here. If you do have questions, stick around, ask those. We'll be more than happy to answer them. We're not rushing you out the door. Again, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next week.